Hey guys, Shawn from She's in Her Element. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to take you guys out in the studio and I am going to share with you my technique for creating this faux leather finish. And it's easier than you think. So if that sounds like something you're interested in learning, meet me in the studio.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane.
Now for this project you're going to need some seriously technical things. Paper bag and some brown craft paper. You can get the brown craft paper at any craft store such as Michael's, Hobby Lobby, heck even Walmart has it. This is what I am going to create my faux leather top out of. Now yes, I know I could seriously just go over to Joann Fabrics and buy myself a little bit of yardage of some faux leather and apply it on my piece. But I don't want to do that. I want to do it myself. And I have a fabulous technique that I have been doing since I had my interior decorating business. Now this technique is absolutely fabulous. You can do it on walls, you can do it on floors, you can do it on furniture, you can do it on counters with an epoxy, of course. You can do it on anything. And if you perchance live in one of those old farmhouses with plaster walls, maybe they're not in the best condition, but wallpaper is definitely out of the budget. This is a super easy way to give your wall a new life, structure, and hold it all together. I actually really like this technique. Once upon a time, many moons ago, my bedroom, I did an accent wall behind my bed. In this technique, I love it. And it's so easy and it's so affordable. And let me just tell you how we do it. Now, when you go to get your brown craft paper, you are going to find that it comes in very different thicknesses. There's thin, there's super thick, there's medium. It is all a preference. Obviously, the thicker it is, the more durable it is, but because we're going to seal this onto our piece, durability isn't necessarily an issue. I have a medium thickness roll. Basically, you want to look at the size of your piece in your area, and by the area that you are going to apply this to is going to determine the sizes you're going to rip. My big area, I'm going to rip bigger size pieces. If I was working on a smaller, I would rip smaller pieces. You're going to do that according to each specific project and you'll have to eye it to figure it out. But take your paper, rip a piece off. We are not going for square. It's fine that it looks like Idaho. It doesn't even matter. What we're going to do is rip our edges. You don't want any straight edges. You want to remove all of these edges in the size you want. I'm going to get two pieces out of this. I'm going to rip it. And then this straight edge, I like to turn my pieces so I'm ripping them on different sides. It gives a nice even feathering effect. So I rotate my piece and rip it off. Now we have our first two pieces. There are no straight edges. They are all torn edges. You want to crinkle them up super tight into tiny little balls and you're going to put them right inside your bag. Do it to all the pieces that you're going to need for your project. I should have mentioned that before you start tearing. Measure how much you're going to need so you know the amount you need to rip up. And then just keep tearing, crinkling, tossing in the bag. Show you one more time the rotation I like. It's kind of big, so let's rip this in half. And then I'm going to turn it and rip it. And what that does is it gives a different feathering edge on each side. It just makes a really nice edge. Got our pieces. Crinkle. So technical. Put them in your bag. Once you have all your pieces in here, what you want to do is squeeze the bag down, take all the air out of it, and tie it up. You want to keep it tight and with no air because we're trying to keep those crinkles in the paper as long as we can. The longer you let it sit, the better the wrinkles. I usually let it sit overnight, but for today, I'm going to let it sit and I'm going to get the table going because that needs a whole makeover. It just isn't working for me. This is a vintage Dan side table with beautiful curves. The top has seen better days, but that's not a problem. I want to do the faux leather treatment on the top, and I want to bring the rest of this table back up to date and give it a new dreamy, beautiful finish. Something that's going to really complement the look of the faux leather, keeping it neutral, adding some pizzazz and sparkle, making it look really nice. I like the hardware. I'm actually going to keep the hardware and just clean it up. I think I'm going to add some embellishments to this, maybe do a blended paint treatment. I'm just going to wing it and see how my creativity plays out. I think that's always a fun way to do a project. All right, let's get the top on this piece. I pull my hair back. Got our bag with our crumpled pieces in it. We're gonna untie that. Got our pieces in there. We're gonna get it on. Now, people like to buy all this fancy decoupages and glues, and I'm not going to lie, I have never had a problem using Elmer's glue to get it down. I don't always use that as the top coat sealer. It does depend on the project and what the wear and tear is going to be on the surface. But for this project, getting it down, that's exactly what I'm going to use. I buy my Elmer's glue in bulk. Saves a ton of money. Now I'm going to add a little water. That's all I want. Let it stir. It's thick, but it still runs. And because my surface is horizontal, I don't have to worry about it sliding down. So let's start fitting our pieces on.
I'm going to apply the glue to the top and lay my pieces down. I'm going to be very careful around the edges though, because I don't want to go beyond the grooves. If I get any glue outside of the area I want, I'm going to wipe it right off. And I'm also going to use a very flat scraper in the groove to dig the paper down. So once it dries, I'm going to have a really clean cut and there will be no excess paper because I want to add some of that rub and buff detail in there when I'm done. Putting these pieces on the top is kind of like putting a puzzle together without having a box to look at. So you kind of have to just feel your way through it. You don't want to overlap them too much, especially if it's a very thick paper. You might see the lines. That's why it's super important to make sure your edges are feathered nicely. But try not to overlap them too much. And if you need to rip off a piece, even if it's a small piece amongst your big ones, just to cover a spot that somehow got missed, don't be afraid to rip it off, put it right over the top. It'll all work out. You're never going to see any of it. Because of all the wrinkles and details that this technique produces, it hides a lot of flaws. It's a very forgiving procedure. It's a very easy procedure, and it's one that even a beginner can enjoy and get amazing results with. Don't be afraid to put a good amount of glue down. It's all going to dry clear. I actually like to use that same plastic scraper I use on the edges to kind of push down the grooves of the paper. It's not like they're really raised and it's going to make an unsteady, unbalanced surface that will be hard to set things on because it won't. But by doing this, it kind of does flatten down the creases, makes it a little bit more smoother, and it really gets the seal going, gets all the air out of there, and gives you a really good bond to the project.
Antiquing glaze, lint-free cotton cloth, gloves. Ay. I've got to get better about wearing my gloves. And oh, got the tool again. I'm telling you, I love this. Love my tool. The whole world is yellow. It's so gross around here with all the pollen. How's the pollen where you guys are? Are you dying like we are? It's awful. The other day it was like watching a dust cloud go by. It was just all yellow. My house is yellow. But there's a beautiful songbird out there somewhere. Okay. I'm going to use an old chip brush. A little stir. Gotta get more of this. And I'm gonna add it. Now I can add it directly onto this top because the glue acts as a medium that allows me to move this, and the top's been waxed. just wipe it. I mean, oh, it just looks so good. This has to sit and dry before I can go on to the next step. But as you can see, all of the different degrees and depths that this piece has, that makes it all come together and give it that aged leather look. And I love how it just builds up around the piece itself. All in those corners, it really brings out the detail so much nicer. I love it. Look at that. It looks so good. Now, when this dries, I am going to finish my rub and buff addition to this. I need to add it to the edge here, and I need to add it right in there. And then that concludes the rub and buff on this piece. And in fact, that concludes this piece with the exception of sealer. I enjoyed sharing this project and technique with you. Now that you've seen how easy it is, I hope it's got you glancing around wondering what you can try it on. I have some more fabulous tutorials coming up, as well as an inventory tour and a sneak peek at my new studio in progress. I'm very excited for that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps my channel out, and let me know in the comments what you think about the faux leather technique. Thanks for joining me in my studio today, and I will see you all on the flip side. Bye, guys.